Welcome to Fighting Over the Remote, a podcast about finding movies to love together. I'm Elissa.
And I'm Robert. Every week, one of us chooses what we're watching, and then we give our initial thoughts, awards, and ratings. This week, I had the remote.
And I was forced to watch Heat. Not to be confused with The Heat, which we have already watched and reviewed, featuring Melissa McCarthy and Sandra Bullock.
Mm-hmm. And
this is just Heat, very different.
And after watching this one, which one would you say was better?
Take a wild guess which one I would pick.
Wow, I can't believe you liked this better than
No.
The Heat.
No.
Wow.
I'm going to have to go with The Heat, not Heat. So sorry.
Damn.
I love Melissa McCarthy. It's too good. Just want a little second to say that I'm sick, so apologies in advance if there's various mouth and noise.
Mouth and noises?
Mouth and nose sounds.
Man, this podcast has so much mouth.
That should be like the next trendy word. This podcast has so much mouth. I like that. It's kind of like giving the same...
I don't like the word mouth.
It's giving the same aggressiveness as like cunt. Like she's serving mouth.
I think the way that people feel about the word moist is how I feel about the word mouth.
Strongly disagree for me. But anyways, just wanted to say that. So sorry if I have a sick people voice. You'll just have to suck it up. Robert's actually going to go through and edit out every single noise I make this entire podcast, so don't even worry about it.
I'm going to do my best, but there's so many hours. There's only so many hours in the week.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of the first movies I thought of when we came up with the podcast, just because this is like
one that I would never ever watch on my own.
No, it's actually one that I'd like. I don't know how much in the culture it is. You know, like, had you heard of it before?
No, I had not.
Yeah, it's weird because I think in the 90s it was really popular, but it's kind of like fallen out of like the discourse. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, which is ironic for me to say because there's currently a sequel in production. But
with Adam Driver.
Yeah.
Which I'll watch that one. Sign me up for that one.
Almost 30 years afterwards.
I want to watch that man yell at anyone.
Yeah.
Mostly me, but.
All right. Let's try to stay focused. I know you're hopped up on cold medicine and.
I'm not on any medicine. Just sheer power of will.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, I'm loopy.
Yeah, I mean, I told you this, but like, this was the first. It's not the first movie that Robert De Niro and Al Pacino were in together, but it was the first movie in which they acted in the same scenes together.
Yeah. Did you say they were in Goodfellas? What was it?
No, they were in Godfather 2.
Godfather,
but
that's what it was.
Godfather 2, it was Al Pacino, like in like present day in the 70s, and then Robert De Niro played Al Pacino's father in flashbacks to like how he like got his start in the mob.
Got it. I've only seen the first one, so I don't know anything about Godfather 2.
We'll probably watch Godfather 2 at some point because that is considered like the best of the three,
okay.
And it's like, you know, one of the great movies of all time. But it's not like, I don't have like a strong attachment to the Godfather series like a lot of film bros do. But I
thought the first one was great.
Yeah. I mean, he is kind of in that film bro like network. Like there's like
Who, Pacino?
No. Just like film bros on Letterboxd love Heat and love Godfather 2. They love that sort of movie. Like,
yeah, I could see this being part of the,
like in Barbie when they do like the Godfather bit, they easily could have switched out with Heat. Like, you've never seen Heat? Oh God, sit down. Yeah. You got to watch Heat. Like, you could easily do that with this movie. I
could see that.
Well, it's a movie that a lot of like 45-year-old men love.
Yeah, it seems like it's very well acclaimed with all of its lore, I guess. I love that term so much. It just encompasses so much. And it is still on IMDb. It is number 138 out of like the list of
like
rated movies. Yeah, which is pretty nuts because it's from 1995, right?
Yeah, but it's probably skewed because of the sequel.
Yeah.
So it's...
That makes sense because people are like reminding themselves of like, what was the Heat? Yeah. Well, for anyone listening that maybe has a movie taste similar to me, I'm happy to sum up.
Okay. I will give you 60 seconds on the clock. Let me
okay.
Here, can I borrow your phone? My phone's on the charger.
I guess. Don't look at my text messages.
Oh my God. Who are you texting? Okay, 60 seconds on the clock.
Okay, I'm ready.
Tell us what happened in Heat.
Okay, so Robert De Niro and his gaggle of men, he's also known as Neil McCauley, I think is his name. They rob random places that have money. So like anywhere you can, like armed truck, they rob banks. They're very good at what they do. He has a bunch of random men that are part of it, and he just kind of like cycles them in and out based on who gets killed and who's part of it.
30 seconds.
And Al Pacino, Vincent Hanna, he's on to those men, and he's trying to get them. And they do this weird weaving in and out of like knowing that the police are on to them, the Heat are on to them. And it's just like this weird intersection of their lives, and you get to see all these men and how their lives are falling apart. And then Macaulay dies. The end.
Oh my God. You just went in there and slam dunked a spoiler right at the end there.
It can't be a spoiler. If you haven't watched it by now, it's been 28 years, so... oh my God, no, it's been...
Yeah, it's been
29.
28, 29, yeah. Oh I was born in 95, and I'm 28, so...
You old fart. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, that was the gist. Did I do an okay job?
Yeah, Vincent Hanna was a cop.
Yeah.
You just kind of said Vincent Hanna was after them.
Oh, sorry, yeah, he's part of the LAPD.
Yeah, and the places they were robbing were not random.
Okay, they weren't random, but they were like I wouldn't if I were to be a robber, I don't think I would think to rob an armored truck. I mean, it's smart, but I don't think I've ever seen...
As a hard criminal, I don't think that I would do that.
Yeah, as someone who does steal money. Just kidding. I don't do that. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to pick this one. I didn't think that you would be quite as negative as you were on it. I think I'm still like trying to figure out... Yet. Yeah, but you were making faces as we were watching this. I'm still trying to get a feel for what, because in the past when we've watched movies together before we did the podcast, we kind of just like stuck to like pretty safe things that we were both pretty confident we would both like, and there is a lot of overlap in our tastes. But this is one that I was like, man, she really liked Goodfellas. There's a chance that you'll like this, but this is a lot more. It takes itself a lot more seriously than Goodfellas does.
Yeah.
Not that Goodfellas doesn't take itself seriously, but Goodfellas has like a whimsy to it. Like it's funny at a lot of points. It's very bright and vibrant, and this is
bright and vibrant.
It's very bright and vibrant, and this is like very cold and...
Yeah. So what made you think I would want to watch something cold and violent?
I didn't pick this because I thought you wanted to watch it. I picked it because I wanted to watch it.
Wait, you're trying to pick things that I would want to watch.
I'm trying to pick things that I think you might be entertained by.
Okay.
And I thought you would be slightly entertained by it, but I think you were mostly pretty negative about it.
We have not even talked about it yet, so...
We were talking throughout the movie.
Okay. It's just, I think for me... The violence is so unnecessary.
It's a film about bank robbers.
I fully understand that. It's unnecessary. The amount of it is unnecessary.
You can make that argument throughout human history that violence is unnecessary.
Exactly. So why would I want to watch something that just showcases that? There's enough of it in the world.
I don't know what to tell you. It's the human condition.
But so that's what's interesting about this, right? Is a lot of the idea of the podcast is that we are trying to make each other watch movies we wouldn't normally watch. So I personally would not subject myself to watching something with this amount of violence because I don't feel like I need to watch violence like this. I don't really want to watch violence.
I didn't even think this movie was that violent.
How long is the shootout scene? That was one of the top Google searches, was how long. It's roughly 10 minutes. 10 minutes of people shooting guns. Why? Why? You could sum that up in 1 minute. oh no, people are dying. That's what you get to at the end, is all these people have died and there's all this damage to
Yeah, it's to show the damage that people who live this lifestyle create.
I totally understand that, but I don't need that. I don't really want it.
That's fair, but it doesn't have the same impact if you make it 60 seconds.
I don't need it to have impact.
If they come out of the bank, they're shooting for 60 seconds, then all of a sudden it's Macaulay on a payphone.
What? Okay,
it doesn't have the same impact.
You could have just jumped forward. You could have had the beginning of the shootout, and then it like skips forward to the damage that's been caused. I don't need to watch people shoot at each other for 10
Michael
minutes.
and Brennan are dead. How'd that happen?
They got shot. I didn't need to see it. I would have assumed. That's the thing, is you think your audience is dumber than they are, but they're smart. They would have figured it out. They would have drawn together.
It's not about whether or not they think the audience is smart or dumb. It's like...
I know that, but I'm saying they could have done that and it would have been fine.
Yeah, I mean...
I just don't need the violence. It's unnecessary to me.
That's fair. You really are not the target audience for this movie.
And I know that. But I was still forced to watch it, so I'm going to talk about it. It's just... That's what I feel most strongly about this movie. Like, I just feel like the bank robbing is one thing. And I understand that that's part of the movie. I totally get that. And I understand that having some violence would be necessary. It's just like the amount feels kind of redundant.
Man, I just didn't feel like there was that much violence.
There was a 10-minute shootout scene.
Yeah, but it's not a war movie. It's not like there was...
Well, I don't watch those either, so I'm not making...
Next week we're watching Saving Private Ryan.
I'm fucking out of here.
No. I would never make you watch that because you wouldn't even finish it.
Probably not.
You'd make it.
Probably
you wouldn't
not.
make it through the first scene.
What's the one that what's his nuts is in? It's not Saving Private Ryan. The hot guy. Sorry, I don't mean to subject anyone to that.
You're not doing a very.
What's his name?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I can't. Sorry.
What's that one that? What's his nuts in? The hot one.
He was in The Office.
Oh, John Krakowski?
Krasinski. John Krasinski.
I don't know.
Jane. Wait, is it Jane Krakowski?
Oh, yeah, Jane Krakowski. Yeah, sorry.
Two different people. They're actually the same person.
I'm catching what you got.
No, you're not. You're fine. John Krasinski. What's the thing that he's in? What show is that?
Oh, like
Jack Reacher?
Jack Ryan.
Jack
Ryan?
Reacher?
Jack
No,
Ryan.
it's not Reacher. I don't know. Whatever.
I
watched that.
I think it's Jack Ryan. You've watched Jack Ryan?
No, I said I would watch that.
Oh, so if Robert De Niro was chiseled with a six-pack...
And he was wearing a tank top?
You would be like, this movie wasn't violent at all.
No, I think I would still be mad about the violence, but I'd be maybe a little less mad because I had something nice to look at. But put John Krasinski
I don't even know where to go with that. That's... If only there were more people to objectify in this movie, I would have.
Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't objectify anyone in this movie?
Who did I objectify?
We'll talk about it later.
All right, can't wait to find out what that means. What about like the Pacino and De Niro of it all?
No, they were great. I haven't said anything about the acting. I thought the acting was great.
Okay.
Yeah, I did, honestly. I thought they were both great. I mean, Al Pacino's interesting because I don't really feel like I've seen him in a lot of stuff, and it's really funny to me that he can be screaming and his face looks exactly the same as if he were just talking. I find that really entertaining.
I think he and De Niro are compared a lot. I mean, they're both like...
They don't feel similar at all to me.
They're compared a lot just because they're the two, like... In that generation of actor, they were the two, like, greatest actors.
Like, kind of like mob boss, like, action movie people.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, it's just like they were kind of going for the same parts. And they were both, like... They both could just, like, make or break a movie so well. And I think... the way I kind of think of it is Robert De Niro is terrifying, but he's, like, cold and calculating. Mm. And Al Pacino is terrifying, but he is like hot and fiery. Like he is just
Yeah.
you feel like Robert De Niro is going to like snap and like cut your throat at any point, and you feel like
And
Al
he wouldn't
Pacino is
have
going to
any emotion
scream at
about
you
it.
and beat you at any point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like they both have like this ability to be sinister and charismatic and likable and deplorable all at the same time. And
I will say that, just to interrupt you for a second, I do feel like Robert De Niro's character in this movie was very similar to his character in Goodfellas.
yeah,
Not the same. Like, I feel like his character in Goodfellas was a little warmer. Mm-hmm. But when they had the scene after they had the giant... I can't remember when that scene was. Mind you, I did watch this while I was sick, so I'm a little discombobulated. But the scene where they all go to... Like, he takes everyone to dinner. And, like, after the dinner, he's, like, kind of buddy-buddy with everyone. Like, you, like, see him at the dinner, like, being buddy-buddy with everyone and, like... laughing and talking to everyone. Like, that gave me Goodfellas vibes a lot. It just felt a lot like his character in that. But I don't necessarily think they're exactly the same. I can see why he gets cast as this kind of character a lot.
Yeah, I think a big difference between this and Goodfellas is like Goodfellas is if this movie was told from Val Kilmer's point of view. And this movie is from Robert De Niro's point of view.
Sure.
Goodfellas, like, the whole point of the movie is that it's told from, like, just a lackey's point of view.
Well, this one feels like it's told from Hannah's perspective to me.
Yeah, I think this is much more of a, like, generic movie than, not that this is a generic movie, but it's, like, it uses much more generic, like, film principles than Goodfellas does. And, I mean, I think Robert De Niro is my, like, favorite actor of all time.
Wow.
I just think he's... like, I've never seen him in even in like Meet the Parents, he's really funny in Meet the Parents. He just doesn't have like, there's not a role he can't play. And I don't know.
That's fair.
I really love him in this, and I think him and Al Pacino together, it's interesting watching them because I think this and The Irishman are the only two things that they've ever been like in scenes together in. I might be wrong about that, but I think that's true. And this movie had a ton of hype because of that. And I don't really know how I got to this point in the conversation. What were we talking about before?
I don't know.
Just
you went off on a tangent about it, so.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Well, I will say that something I found interesting about this movie was how summed up it felt in my head, like in terms of like metaphorically, like this movie, the whole movie felt like it was just like, how far will men go for their pride?
Yeah.
Which was really interesting because, like, you watch all these different characters and how they interact with other people based on whether or not they make them feel, like, isolated and kind of... what's the word? Like, kind of pitying themselves? Like, well, pity is not the right word. Just kind of...
like feeling sorry for themselves.
Yeah, just feeling emasculated, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of feels like it feels like most of the men characters go between feeling emasculated and feeling prideful. Like, I think about, like, Wayne Grow, and I think about the scene where they're at the diner and he just, like, messed up the job they just did by killing that one guard, and then they had to kill all of the guards of the armored truck. And Wayne Grow starts getting beaten the shit out of him. Is getting the shit beat out of him by Macaulay. And, like, you can, like, see in his face how emasculated he feels. So then he, like, goes on this rampage. And it's, like, it feels like every character is like that. Like, all of them. Like, the scene with Vincent Hanna when he, like, goes home and his wife has been sleeping with this random guy. And he starts yelling at him. And he feels emasculated, and he's like, oh, I don't care that you slept with my wife. Like, whatever, that's fine. But you can't watch my fucking television set or whatever. And it's just like... yeah. It wasn't a really interesting portrayal of fragile masculinity, honestly. Like, that was kind of what I got out of it, was just these men just basically blowing up their own lives by... keeping their shit under wraps and not communicating to each other or people in general.
Yeah.
That was something that I found intriguing about it. And I don't really know if that was the director's purpose. Like I don't know if that's just something I followed throughout the movie or what, but that felt really apparent. I feel like the pride is the downfall of all these characters.
Yeah, I mean you can say that about any movie about men that fall from.
Okay, well.
I'm agreeing with you.
I'm just trying to. We gotta step up.
What?
I don't know.
Step up from what?
I don't know. I think that this movie was just a really interesting perspective of that, of just like. Men are just babies. I mean, we're all just babies. I don't mean that in a mean way. I just mean like. Even when we're adults, we're just little babies, you know? We have a little inner child, and like when we don't get our needs met, when we don't get like the affection or attention that we're craving like within ourselves, it's like it comes out to haunt you in some way because you don't know how to take care of yourself or let others take care of you.
Yeah, I mean even Vincent Hanna, who's like I guess like the hero of the story because he plays the side of the law, like I mean,
I don't know if you could call him a hero, but...
Well, he's definitely, like an anti-hero, but...
Yeah.
I mean, he's not killing innocents in the street for money.
Yeah, that's true.
But, I mean, his relationship with his wife is pretty awful, and he's a big cause of it. And...
I think he is the cause of it.
Yeah.
If he's been through 2 other marriages, and he's on his 3rd...
Yeah, well, it sounds like both of them have had a hell of a time picking partners,
yeah, that's
so
fair.
I think they're both a little bit toxic. But
jaded.
Yeah. I mean, he's incapable of having a good relationship with anybody, I think, simply because he's, stuck in this, or not stuck, he's willingly in this job, obsessed with,
Yeah.
Catching the bad guys. And it's like, what's it all for if not your pride? Because what other reason is there to ruin every personal relationship in your life just for your job?
Yeah. And that's how it be.
Yeah. A few points on Pacino, just because I don't think we really spent enough time on him. I mean, this is my favorite movie that he's in.
What else is he in?
I mean, he's in the Godfather movies. Those are probably his best performance. Like, I'll give him that, but this is my favorite character that he plays. Like Michael Corleone's so cold and calculating, and it's ironic because I just like praised De Niro for that, but like Al Pacino as Michael Corleone's like one of the most iconic characters in movie history. But I think he plays fiery so well, and in this.
But what other movies has he? You only listed The Godfather. What else has he been in?
I don't know. I mean, he's been.
Well,
in a lot
you
of
say
stuff.
that you really like him, so I'm just curious.
Well, okay, put me on the spot.
Yeah, you need to know every single movie he's ever been in if you think he's one of your favorite actors.
I didn't say he was one of my favorite. I just
You
said
did.
I liked him.
All right, play back.
I said Robert De Niro was one of my favorites.
Well, you talk about Al Pacino quite a bit as well. Was he in
I don't think I
Sorry,
ever
scroll
mentioned
back
him.
up. Did it say he was in a Bad Bunny music video?
Yeah.
What the heck?
He's in a lot of weird stuff nowadays.
Gotta get your money as an actor. Listen, I get it. What else were you gonna say about him?
Well, I mean, like, he's in Scarface, and he's very explosive in Scarface as well. Like, he just plays that so well. And, like, I kind of warned you going into the movie that he was, like, insane in this. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it was just...
apparently, originally, he was supposed to have a coke habit, which is why he was acting that way. And that would have...
I could see that.
That would have, like... I mean,
That makes sense.
I get why they took that out of the movie, but...
Why?
I don't know. I mean, you would have had to add extra scenes showing him doing coke, and then all of a
probably
sudden
also
you kind
wouldn't
of
have
have
been on his team as much either.
Yeah, that too, because you're like, well, you're a coked up asshole
Terrible
who's ruining his
husband.
relationship
Yeah.
with his wife and his stepdaughter. And yeah. Yeah, but I mean, De Niro and Pacino are really like, they kind of sum up the whole movie. I mean, the whole movie was made with that diner scene in mind, basically.
Really?
I mean, I don't know if that's true from Michael Mann's point of view, but...
Oh, fun fact, that scene was not rehearsed.
Yeah, I saw that.
They just did it.
And apparently that scene's the whole reason De Niro, like, wanted to do the movie. So...
I will say that scene was really cool. I will probably talk about it in a little bit. But
Yeah.
I did really like that scene.
Yeah. Was there any other like initial thoughts you wanted to share before we get into awards?
I see that you have something about Amy Brenneman, so I was actually going to talk about Amy Brenneman.
Okay.
My acting teacher, Cameron Watson, who is a wonderful human, directed Amy Brenneman in The Sound Inside, which was a really cool play. It was amazing. And she was amazing. She was so good.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the play, she had like I don't even know how long the monologue was. I want to say it was like 15 minutes long. And it was just her the entire time. Like that, I can't even imagine. So it was really interesting seeing her in this, because I don't think I've seen, from what I looked at on her IMDb, I don't think I've seen her in anything else. I haven't seen Judging Amy or Private Practice.
She was in The Leftovers, which is what I know her from.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did watch a little bit of The Leftovers, so I do remember seeing her in that. But this is obviously like so different than how she was in that.
Yeah,
she has a sorry.
No, go ahead.
She just has a really nice presence in this movie that I think is a good contrast to the rest of everything happening.
She's basically the only character with a conscience.
Yeah. Well, I think most of the women characters have a conscience for the most part.
Yeah, but I think like Ashley Judd's character and the other wives, to an extent, like they play a part. Like they're playing a role in the fact that they know what their husbands do, and they're like enjoying the fruits of that, like criminal labor. And I think that I mean, you know, not to give her a pass, because in the end she decides that like, oh, okay, I'll run away to New Zealand with you. But
well, I feel like it's the women that don't know what's going on that are kind of left out of the immoral part of it. Like Amy Brenneman's character, Edie, and then Justine, Vincent Hanna's wife. Like, I feel like both of them are kind of, they're pretty innocent.
And the, what's his name? Dennis Haysbert's the actor, the Allstate guy. But his partner, like she was also very, very full of conscience.
They're
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate that they included that. That was so sad. This man trying to clean up his life after prison, and then he gets dragged back into this shit.
But that goes back to what you were saying about pride. I mean, he had too much pride to work in that restaurant job.
That was actually another part that I really felt the presence of. That was like when he was talking to the manager of the restaurant and like telling him like, hey, my parole officer told me to come in and get this job. And then the guy gives him like, you're going to give me 25% of what you get, like all this stuff. You watch his face and you watch him from being like so excited to finally have a job to being so like emasculated and hurt and like also filled with rage at the same time. And you know, as the audience, that this man could beat the shit out of that manager in like 2 seconds flat. And he chooses to bite his tongue and put on the outfit that he has to wear, the uniform he has to wear for the job, and just like go to work.
Yeah.
Like that was so crazy to watch that all happen in his face.
Yeah, and I think at the beginning he's doing it for his partner, but then by the end his pride just completely overtakes him and he can't do it not even for her.
And when I say emasculated, I mean like, I don't really like that term, but I feel like when there are characters like this that are so full of their own masculinity and like they don't know how to handle their anger, they don't know how to handle their rage. It's like if anything leashes them and pulls them back from handling things the way they think they know how to handle it or how they want, quote, to handle it, it's like that's them getting pulled back and like being, quote, emasculated. It's just like the idea that like you actually cannot kill the person. Like you have to figure out how to, you know.
Yeah. I think like being emasculated is an internal thing, obviously, but it's not like I can't be like, oh, you were emasculated. Like you have to decide that you were emasculated, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Exactly.
And really only like toxic men suffer from emasculation, in my opinion. So
well, it's like they're choosing like my masculinity is so important to me that
Yeah.
If someone makes me feel like I'm not masculine and powerful and strong, then I'm worthless, which is not like, that's not how it is. But it's like these men over and over, like that's what they're doing. It's like when they feel that way, they lash out.
Yeah.
Because they need their pride. That's like the most important thing to them is like, I need to feel like the strongest
you really
man.
can't be emasculated unless you're putting your masculinity on a pedestal.
Right, exactly.
Which is what
all these men
most
do.
of the men in this movie are doing.
We can get into categories now. Sorry,
The last thing, what you saw on my screen about Amy Brenneman is just that she originally didn't want to be in this because she thought the movie had no morality, and that's what made Michael Mann want her for the role, because that's what would make you perfect for this role specifically. So
respect to her for saying that, because I think as an actor, first of all, it's really hard to like turn, especially someone who's like trying to be in the industry. Like it's very difficult to turn things down just because you feel a certain way about it. So the fact that she even like voiced that is really interesting to me. Yeah. But yeah, and then the fact that she ends up playing the role and she's perfect for it.
But yeah, so let's get into some categories. If this is your first time listening to our podcast, we go through a bunch of different categories and we select a winner in the category.
Sorry, that was a big yawn.
Still hopped up on NyQuil.
I haven't taken anything. I don't know why you keep saying that.
Why do you keep snorting under the table?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
I am gonna worry.
Yeah, we do these categories just to see how both of our opinions differ with the movies, and also, you know, whoever hasn't watched it, it's interesting to hear how they feel.
And it's also really fun for us to track down these actors' current addresses, and
so we can send them gifts and trophies.
Yeah, trophies that depict whatever we want.
Okay. That was weird. Creepy.
It always makes them so happy to receive them.
Okay, anyway, so for best acting, I don't really think it was a contest. Can you stop staring at me like that? You look creep.
I put Robert De Niro.
So did I. I think Pacino was great as well, but Robert De Niro, I did feel kind of bad for his character.
Yeah, I mean...
and I don't know how he does that.
I mean, he kills people in this movie, and you're still like, man, but he's got a
guy.
heart. Yeah. He's just trying to keep this group together.
Because you get the vibe like he is trying to get out of it.
Well, he was going to kill Waingro for killing those people.
Yeah.
Like, he was, like, pissed about that. I think he tries to...
Well, I think he's also pissed at him for, like, telling the police about where they were and all that. But
yeah. I mean, like he says to Pacino, like, he doesn't let anything stand in his way.
Yeah.
And I think that's, like, something he's decided within himself. But I also think that he, like, at the end of the day, if he could get through every robbery with the money and no casualties, that's exactly what he would want.
Okay, but he says that and then he beats the shit out of a guy for no reason. For his key.
For his key? What are you talking about?
Are you talking about the robbery? When he's like, I don't want to hurt anyone. Don't be a hero. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, he just punches him.
He, like, beat the shit out of him. And his nose started bleeding, and he goes, let it bleed.
You know...
And he grabs his key.
If that guy had just given him the key...
No.
Come on.
It's also
De Niro did nothing wrong.
No. It's also an interesting experience of, like, when men say things they don't mean. Like, I'm not going to hurt anyone. And then he goes... You know?
I think that's just like a criminal thing. I don't know if that's a...
No, it's a man thing as well. Trust me.
You can call him out for all the stuff he says to Edie throughout the movie. That can be a good example. But I think him saying, I'm not going to hurt you, and then punches him, I don't think that's indicative of...
It literally is.
Yeah, but I don't think that's like a...
It literally is. He has a whole speech about how he doesn't want to hurt anyone. Don't be a hero, all this stuff. And then seconds after he says that, he beats the shit out of a guy. Because he asked him for his key and he goes, what key? And like the guy's probably traumatized and like in fight or flight mode, and then he beats him up and then steals his key. Like maybe you should have given the guy one more second to get the key out.
He's got no time. He's got to get out of there.
I guess not.
Okay, so Robert De Niro, be on the lookout. This week the only trophies they had were dolphins jumping out of
Yeah, we don't know what that's
choppy
all about.
waters. We don't.
I don't know if it's like a sandcastle contest one or something, but
Yeah, it was very strange, but
enjoy it.
They also spelled your name wrong.
Yeah, they put Robert DeNiro. Sorry.
Yeah, so sorry
I
about that.
couldn't read Robert's handwriting.
Yeah,
Anyways,
so sorry
worst
about that.
acting?
I put the guy who plays Waingro is very weird. I don't think he was bad, but he was very strange in some of his choices. And then I put Vincent Hanna's wife.
That's really interesting to me that you put her.
She was so over the top, like the whole movie.
Yeah, but she had to match Al Pacino. He's literally the most, like, all over the place character.
That's fine. I'm not grading on a curve, though.
Okay, well, I said I couldn't think of anyone for worst acting. Although the Waingro guy was a little bit, but he was so creepy.
He was my first thought, but he was like a great villain.
He was a really good villain.
I was so ready for him to die by the end.
Yeah,
I forget how much
honestly,
I hate him every time I watch this movie.
Yeah, I wish he would have died sooner, to be honest.
That's fair.
I think it's interesting that you put her because I put Diane Venora, or Justine, the wife of Vincent Hanna, as my favorite character, not in the main cast.
I love the character and I like the actress actually, and I don't mind her in this movie. It's just sort of like, it's like when we talked about Goodfellas and I like was critical of the wife's acting in that movie too. It's just like when you're having to go,
You just
like,
don't like women.
True, but that's not why I made this decision. Just kidding, obviously.
He's kidding.
No, I just think when you're like, I mean, like you said, when you're having to go toe to toe with like these very like loud, like, let's be honest, over actors, it's very hard for you yourself not to overact. And I think, you know, she just kind of got a little into overacting a couple times.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know this was her.
Yeah, I think she's had a lot of work done.
Sorry, I'm looking at her IMDb.
Doesn't
No,
matter.
I feel like I've just seen her in a lot more stuff than I even knew. Getting a Poor Things
Oh, that
ad.
looks like her. Oh, well.
Every
yeah.
other photo.
Yeah, I mean, she's a great actress. I just think she overacts a little bit in this movie.
I totally get that. I personally think it's necessary when she's matched with Al Pacino.
I'm not saying it was a bad performance. I'm saying it was the worst performance.
Okay.
This is a movie that was...
Okay. Understood.
There were a lot of great performances. There's no shade.
It's just, I'm going to keep track of how many women you put in that spot. So,
Hey, that's fair.
yeah, it is.
Favorite character not in the main cast? I put the Allstate guy.
Justine. He was so good. What's his name, though?
Dennis Haysbert.
Give him his credit where credit's due. Dennis Haysbert. He was really, really good.
He
And
is.
I'm
I was
so sad he got killed.
As we were watching it, I'm curious why he wasn't like. I mean, everybody recognizes his voice because the Allstate ads, but like, he was a really, really good actor in this, and I'm surprised I haven't seen him like in more acting roles. But yeah, I just thought he was. I thought he was so good in this, and I loved his character. And it's like his character really sums up the whole movie. Just the like,
Yeah.
He's the one. He's trying so hard to be better, and in the end, he just can't escape the life.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, he has a lot of credits. Holy shit.
What was the one you said? Who'd you say was your favorite? Justine?
Yeah. I thought she was... Oh, I think him, too. I think I wanted to add him as well.
Her scenes with Al Pacino are some of my favorite. I think I'd completely forgotten about like that whole side of the movie when we watched it, because I told you the last time I saw this was like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'd like completely forgotten how much his wife is in this movie, and their scenes together, like especially the scene where he gets back from whatever, and she's got the man staying over. Oh, well, that too, but like
I love the one where she's sitting there waiting for him after he goes and like sees the murder of the really young lady.
That was a really dark scene.
That was a really dark scene. There's a lot of really dark scenes that I did not want in this movie.
Okay, so if we had to pick Dennis Haysbert or Justine.
I'll go with Dennis Haysbert.
What's her
He was really
Diane
great.
Venora is Justine's actress's name.
Dennis Haysbert. We'll go with him. I did really enjoy his acting a lot.
Okay. And I do want to reiterate, I don't think that Diane Venora was a bad actress in this movie. I just thought she overacted a couple times.
I know. I'm going to keep track. How many women you put in that spot?
We should say that this movie did pass the Bechdel test, technically.
You said barely, though.
Yeah, barely.
We're starting to take note of that as well because I've realized like I'm interested to see what movies we pick.
I think it's literally just Justine and Natalie Portman's character having a conversation about her barrettes.
Yeah, I don't really feel
it.
like it should count if one of the characters.
That's
is
why
14.
That's why I said barely.
Is that the scene where they talk about the barrettes?
Yeah, I think
scene?
it's literally it. Yeah,
That's really sad.
But technically,
Well, I mean, there's only so many scenes with women, so
yeah, that's true.
There's
This is
maybe
not a
like
woman
4.
forward movie.
most of the ones you pick are not. So
I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry.
I'm just taking notes.
Best scene?
The coffee scene
Yeah, it's got to be the
with
diner.
De Niro and Pacino. It's so good. That's probably partially because they didn't rehearse it. Like it felt so raw and real
Yeah,
that they were having this little sit down. And it's also so interesting to watch two characters realize how they're exactly the same person, just in two different jobs in real time. Like it's almost like there's a mirror between them, you know?
yeah. I think that scene. It's gonna come up in my nitpicks later on, but I think that
Interesting.
scene, like, is so good for like. It just explains why these two men respect each other so much and why both of them will never be happy or like. I mean, because like.
How they let their pride get in the way.
Yeah, I mean, Vincent Hanna someday is going to be undone the same way Robert De Niro was, where
Exactly.
his pride's going to get in the way and he's going to get shot and killed. Mm-hmm. And you just know that that's going to happen.
Yeah, his is coming later.
Yeah, he's not a guy that's going to live to be 85 years old.
Right.
Okay, so we're in agreement on that. Worst moment?
The 10-minute long shootout scene.
Okay, I put Natalie Portman's S-word attempt. That
I
was a
honestly
little-
don't even think that needed to be in the movie at
That's
all.
why I put worst moment. I was
Yeah,
like,
I hated that.
When we were watching, I was like, oh, I have no recollection of this being in this movie.
What was her character's name?
Oh, that's a great question. One I don't have the answer to at the moment. Let me look real quick.
Lauren.
Yeah,
that was completely unnecessary for the movie. I
didn't even understand.
I guess the point of it was that I don't know. I guess the point of it was that Vincent Hanna is like a softie. I don't know. It was just like
Can I tell you what I think the point is?
Sure.
I think that it was showing that even that couldn't get Vincent Hanna to give up on the work.
yeah, that's
'Cause
fair.
even
Yeah,
that,
because
he leaves her
when
behind.
he's at the hospital, like he's like,
Yeah, he's like checking
gotta
his
go.
beeper and
And she's
shit
like,
that.
just
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty triggering, to be honest. Like I just didn't feel like, especially in I don't really want to discuss details. I don't think that's necessary, but just a trigger warning: if you watch the movie, there is a attempt of sorts, and it's pretty gruesome. I really don't think they needed to do it the way that they did. I don't think that was necessary. I mean, I understand that they did that because she survived, and like that, there's not a lot of manners in which you would, but. Yeah, that was one of them for me as well.
That's like one of the few things that does really trigger me in movies. Like seeing like the cut marks.
Oh, I
like,
was saying
yeah,
I didn't want to talk about that though. I don't want to talk about details.
That's fair. I'm just saying that's like one of the few things that really gets
I
me.
didn't
So
want that.
I'm on your
Yeah.
side on that.
Well, so I had the shootout because I think it was if it was 10 minutes, I think it was 8 minutes too long. I literally was like waiting for it to be over.
Yeah.
It just felt unnecessary to me.
It's okay.
I also thought the scene with Edie and Neil when they're outside. We talked about this while we were watching it. They're sitting
yeah.
outside and they have the skyline behind them, but it looks so bad. Like I understand
Yeah.
it's 95 and they did the best that they could with the technology they had at that time. It
Sorry.
looked really bad. The acting was fine. Their acting was great, but it was like
Yeah, they're both great.
so distracting that the lighting between them and like the background was like too. It was just completely, yeah.
What's
it was
the-
very confusing.
Let me look up the age difference between those two real quick. Because I have a feeling that they are...
Oh, that was gonna sneeze. Huh?
No, I mean, it's...
She looked a lot younger than him in the movie.
She's about 20 years younger than him, but
Jesus.
She was...
Why can't they cast women that are the men's age? Why do they need to cast younger women in everything?
I think that they were trying to have him play younger, which people do with Robert De Niro quite often, and he pulls off in the acting, but not in the appearance.
Presence, yeah. Yeah, so I guess we can agree for worst moment, it was the attempt, I think. I just don't think it needed to be in the movie.
I mean, I just literally think you could cut that entire section off, and it's the same movie.
It could be something, it could be like maybe she got caught smoking weed, or like something stupid. Like, it does not need to be...
Or she just showed up at his house in the middle of the night, like, crying or something.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't have
and
to...
he has to call the mom to come get her.
Yeah,
and then he has to leave for work or something.
Something like that. Okay. Well,
favorite lines?
I just think... I mean, Pacino has so many good ones, but I think De Niro's... What am I doing? I'm talking to an empty telephone because there's a dead man on the end of this fucking line.
That was one of mine.
I mean, if I ever threaten somebody's life, I'm saying that.
There's a dead man. Well, hopefully you're not... Well, backtrack. Hopefully you're not threatening anyone's life anytime soon.
We'll see.
Oh.
What's yours?
Oh, God. Well, that was mine because it was funny because, like, he started to say... Like, before he said the part where he's like, because there's a dead man. And I was like, oh, because there's a... I was like, there's a dead guy or something, like, because you're dead. Yeah. And then he said it, and I was like, I was right. I
think this is a very, like, famous line, and I think you might have been, like, what's it called? Like, you, I can't think of what it's called.
I've heard it before or something, or what?
Yeah, through, like, osmosis in the culture, you just kind of, like, have, like, subconsciously heard it, and...
I'm not aware of that, but it's totally possible. Maybe there's been like an homage to it in something that I've seen.
Yeah, because I was just excited for that line the whole movie because I know like it's such a good line and it's such a good. And then you said it right before he says it, and I was like, oh God, okay.
Well, I mean, you can also tell from the line like that's where he's going, you know. Yeah. So could be either way.
So we'll give it to that.
Oh no! I have another one. We can give it to that one, but I have another one. It's with what's the long-haired guy's name? Not Wayne Grow, the other guy. Charlene? No, that's his wife.
He's got a weird last name. You mean Val Kilmer's character, Chris?
Chris.
What a weird name.
Shirless.
Shirless is what I was talking about, not the Chris.
When Chris is talking to De Niro and he goes, "For me, the sun rises and sets with her man." I was like, shut the flying fuck up. Like, I was so pissed off that he said that because I was like, you literally just beat the shit out of her and were like ruining your house with her because you felt emasculated because you don't have enough money.
Yeah.
Bestie.
But I think we've all met guys, or we're all aware of men that are like that, where they're like, she's my sun and stars.
No, that's literally an emotionally and physically abusive man to a T.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I love her so much. I would do anything for her. I would kill anyone. And then he, like, when they're talking, he's like, you can't take my son away from me, and like all this stuff. And it's like,
yeah.
Okay, so you hate her.
Yeah. Again, there are no heroes in this movie.
No, there are not. No, there are not.
Okay, and then my favorite Pacino line in this movie goes into my best bit.
Okay, I didn't have a best bit. I didn't really feel like it was a bit-y movie.
I think that you could do it. You can easily make a bit out of when, what's his name? The guy who plays Alan Marciano, he says, why'd I get mixed up with that bitch? And Vincent Hanna goes, 'cause she's got a great ass!
And he, like, screams it.
Yeah, he screams it and he does the hand motion. I think I could do that all the time.
You have done it a few times since we watched the movie.
It's very fun to do.
It is pretty funny.
Anybody listening to this, just watch this movie and do your best Al Pacino. It is a lot of fun.
You can also just Google this part if you don't really want to watch the movie. I support you in that because it is 3 hours long pretty much.
But he has a lot of really funny line deliveries in this movie.
I like how he says police at one point. That was funny.
Or the, like, give me all you got! When he just, like, yells that. It's when he's talking to that one guy at, like, the scrapyard or whatever.
Oh.
And he's, like, talking, and he's, like, just talking to him normal, and then all of a sudden he goes, give me all you got! And he, like, yells.
You're gonna have to turn that down. You're yelling into the mic.
Oh, yeah.
Just as a word of a warning. I mean, a word of advice. If you are going to yell, you got to back up away from the mic and then you can yell.
He also says, who? What are you, a fucking owl?
What are you, a fucking owl? Yeah, I think that Dead Man on the Other Line has to win because that's incredibly well written.
For favorite line.
We already talked about that, but you're talking about your bit.
Yeah, so that'll be favorite line, and then I think the great ass line should be best bit. So it's just a lot of fun to say.
Also, Robert told me when we were watching that was improvised.
Oh, yeah.
The great ass
Hank
line.
Azaria, that's his name. Yeah, Hank Azaria was like shocked.
Which also I fucking hated his character. Sorry, just had to say
his character was a huge piece of shit in a movie full of pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Okay, one Oscar?
I guess greatest acting for De Niro.
Yeah. This movie like famously
Did he get nominated?
No, this movie didn't win anything.
Well, that stinks.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm scrolling through. I don't think so. Yeah, it didn't win anything.
You know what it would not win is for soundtrack. I thought the soundtrack was bad. Sounded like elevator music to me.
I don't think it was. I mean, I
just didn't
I
feel
agree with you
fitting.
that I didn't like it, but I did not like it. I think it's just very 90s.
I shouldn't say bad.
Like,
it wasn't bad. It just didn't fit.
It's like 90s thriller. Like every movie back then had this kind of soundtrack, and I think it was just a sign of the times. But yeah, I agree with you. I think De Niro ought to win for best acting. Should I just let you take the floor on nitpicks, or?
I've got a few. Yeah, so for nitpicks, all of the women have Southern accents except for Justine for some reason.
Yeah,
it was very weird.
Very weird.
Amy Brenneman's character Edie had one.
Ashley Judd
was weird. Ashley Judd's character had one, and I think what was strange about it is you would notice them coming in and out, so it was kind of jarring. I don't know why they made them Southern because they're in LA. It was just kind of weird. I didn't love that.
Amy Brenneman is from Connecticut, so
it's
not Southern.
She's not Southern. I don't think any of the women that had one, even like there were a couple of other characters too that were also.
Oh no, Ashley Judd's Southern. From California.
Yeah, see, it was just
weird.
I don't know why they made that choice.
Yeah,
it didn't feel necessary. There's also a part after the bank robbery when what's his name? Sorry. Chirito. When Michael Chirito leaves the bank robbery, he's literally holding his AK-47 under his jacket.
Oh yeah, you really
while
didn't like
he's
that part.
fleeing. I was like, that's so stupid. Like, as if no one would see it. And then, but you see, when Vince Hanna is running through the crowd and he has his gun, like everyone's like, "Oh my god, get out of the way!" So it was just like, there's a gun right there. Did none of you fuckers see that? Like, obviously they would have seen it.
I think just pre 9/11, people weren't looking out for stuff like that.
But people would have seen a gun hanging out of a man's jacket, point blank. Like, I don't think that there's any.
I think if they had looked, they would have, but I don't think people were looking around.
I also think the police would have gotten there faster. I think it's something about like bank tellers or something have buttons under their desk that they can press or something like that.
No, that's what the whole thing was. They undid that. That's what they did with the security system.
Oh, yeah, see. Okay, that's actually another nitpick is half a good 25% of the movie, I had no idea what they were saying. They were like, "Hey, I'm going to go get the 911 on the perp with the purple jacket that's got the nuts and the bolts, and I'm gonna take care of my business with my tuckus." I don't know. There was just like a lot of
my tuckus.
I don't know. That's what it was. Just like not like some of the times that they were talking to each other, I was like,
jargon.
This is nonsense. This is nonsense. What are they saying? What are they saying?
There was a lot of financial jargon when they were talking about selling the bonds back.
Listen, that's right over my head.
And then there was a lot of like bank robbing jargon when they were talking about the actual heist. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff like that. That made no
sense to me. I get that it's part of the world to talk like that, but okay, I had two more. Wait, I think maybe did I have one more? No, I have two more. Macaulay doesn't go after Waingro when Waingro escapes. Mm-hmm. I do not think that, like, in the world of the characters, I don't think he would have just let him run off.
Yeah.
If he's that smart, he would have figured out where he went, I think.
Yeah, I think there was just so many balls in the air at that point that it wasn't a priority for him. but obviously it should have been.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, I just think like he would have. I think one of them also would have seen Wayne Grow run off. That was one of the nitpicks for me.
Yeah, none of them could stay.
None of them saw him?
They all had to stare at the cops.
Yeah. All 4 of them?
Yeah, I thought that was weird. I also was like, what did you expect, De Niro? You were just beating the shit out of him,
Yeah,
and
you think
then
he's
you
gonna
just stop and
yeah.
turn your back on him, and he was just going to stay there for
He
you?
could have, like, put his foot on him or something and then stood up, like,
Yeah,
holding
really.
him down or something.
Yeah.
The other one
Or
was...
use a knife.
During the first heist from the armored truck, they, like, got back to... Like, they escaped the scene so quickly... Mm-hmm. And I don't think they would have gotten out of there that fast. Like, I also think they would have seen, I think that someone would have seen the EMS escaping when they left.
Yeah, they did. That's why they left the EMS and blew it up.
No, but I'm saying, like, as they're fleeing, like, I feel like they would have been, like, people would have come after them.
The cops were right there. That's why they put the tracks, the nails down. The cops were, like, right there.
So you're saying the cops didn't see where the EMS went and they didn't see the car they got into and they didn't follow the car? That's what I'm saying.
They saw which way the EMS went, but by the time backup got there, they had already gotten rid of the EMS and been in a new car and left.
Something about that doesn't add up to me. I think someone would have seen the car leave, personally.
I think never underestimate the ineptitude of the judicial system.
That's
or not
valid.
judicial, police force, I guess. I don't know.
What about you? Did you have nitpicks?
Yeah, I have a couple of nitpicks. My main one is that although it's my favorite scene, why is Hannah getting Robert De Niro coffee? I don't understand that at all.
Well, I mean, I guess, like, he has been known to befriend some criminals.
I guess that's true. I think it's just like a...
Yeah. It's like, in what world would this happen?
I think it's literally just like he has so much respect for him that he wants to, like, meet the man for real, but it's a very odd choice, especially since he used, like, a helicopter and shit. Like, he used a lot of resources. Taxpayer money, might I add. Might you add? So that he might meet a criminal for coffee. A little strange. And then, really the only other one is at the very end, I don't understand why Hannah doesn't have backup with him. All.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't call any backup.
No one follows him.
Yeah. I mean, he's literally
just
like,
running.
If that plane didn't come right then, he'd be dead. Yeah. Because the shadow was the only reason he saw De Niro.
Yeah. That's a really good point. I didn't really even think about that, to be honest.
Those are my only two, really. I mean, there's a lot of little tiny stuff, but nothing crazy. What about your one thing that you would change about the movie? Mine was to take out the attempt. Same. Just really unnecessary. Yeah, especially when it's a 14-year-old. It's like, oh, yikes. Yeah. Don't do that. Nothing with kids, please. Oh, and to also shorten the shootout. Yeah. Right. I'm just going to keep harping on that. I just didn't think it was necessary. I gotcha. We'll stick to the Natalie Portman thing, though. A horniness meter. I didn't write anything down because I was like, I feel like I needed to talk to you about it. There's like multiple sex scenes in this movie, so I think I gave it a 4 out of 10 because there's multiple sex scenes, but it's not like a sexy movie. You know what I mean? I also, not to be mean, but I don't really find any of the men attractive. That's fair. I think Val Kilmer had his time, but I think in this movie he's a little... He looked good with the shorter hair. I just, for some reason, like, I didn't find any of them attractive, really. Well, except for Dennis Haysbury? What was his name? Haysbert. Yeah, he's pretty attractive. He was pretty hot. Yep. I'll give him that. And he's wearing like those cute like pleated pants and his nice shirt and walking into work. That's true. Cute outfit. Yeah. I would say for me probably like a 2 out of 10. I think it was just kind of like something that comes into play for the horniness meter for me is like how characters are treated. So like the way that the women were treated, I'm like, that's fair. Really turns me off. Yeah. A whole lot. I'm not sure I even have to ask this, but would you recommend this to someone with your taste? I said maybe. Okay.
I said maybe because I do think the acting is really good in this. I'm not going to say yes because I don't think it's for everyone. And especially like, now that I've seen it, I'm like, yeah, I don't think everyone would enjoy this. But I also wouldn't say no because it's not a terrible movie.
Yeah, and this might be sacrilege, but I think I would recommend taking like a little intermission.
Yeah, it's very long. We took a couple of breaks.
Yeah, I know, like, I mean, I'm anti that in a movie theater.
Yeah.
But, like, when you're watching at home, like, it's literally
Let yourself have a little break, a little brain break.
Yeah, especially if this is not a movie that you would normally watch because it is a lot.
It's a lot going on.
I think
It's
if you,
very
like...
heavy.
Yeah, I don't know... Off the top of my head, I can't think of a specific moment I would tell you to, like, take a break in, but...
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
a lot going on.
Okay, well, that actually surprises me. I thought that was going to be a firm no for you.
Yeah. Yours was obvious.
Would you like to rewrite this to a romance?
I don't think it would be too difficult to do. I think it would just be more emphasis on Robert De Niro Macaulay and Edie's romance, and I think it would end up like with him leaving his work to be with her.
Yeah, I think
You would like see a change of heart in him, and he would stop saying the thing about the 30 seconds. It would be like the end would be like a voiceover of him being like, I used to say that when the heat was on me, I would drop everything in 30 seconds, but I could never drop this woman, or like something like that.
Yeah, you would have to like open the movie with the line like someone
Yeah.
used to say, when the heat's on, you got to be able to drop everything 30 seconds flat. And then
But things change or something.
not even that, just then it
Oh, you
cuts
just
to
need
him
it-
being
yeah.
the bank robber, and then at the end it like he says that line again. It's just like Gone Girl, like it does that. Like it has the same line at the beginning and the end, but it means something completely different.
Work. I think it could work. And I think if you did it like that, it would also be like, I think the men would commit themselves in the world of the movie. I think the men would commit themselves more to their relationships if it were a romance. Like they would be like, I'm going to stop doing this because I love you. And like in my world within the movie, Charlene and Chris would split up.
Well,
and she would have her own
I think they
romance.
do. We'll see what Heat 2 does, but I think
Jesus.
that probably does happen.
Do you think they're going to have people from the first one in the second one or no?
I'm pretty sure it follows Val Kilmer's character, Heat 2. I think it's like
Well, then who is Adam Driver? Is he the son?
He must be either the son
That would
or
be
he's
funny.
playing like Val Kilmer's character recasted because Val Kilmer's no longer able to play that role.
Oh, right. Okay, interesting. We'll see.
All right. Well, should we get into our final scores?
Yes. Mine's a 2. I don't need to watch it for a while.
That's fair. I think it's.
I wouldn't say I would never watch it again. I think I would maybe watch it again. I don't think I would really be as present, and I'd probably skip over a couple of bits here and there.
I do think the heists make a little bit more sense on a rewatch. So I think it would
there's
be
a lot of
little less-
logistics I missed out on.
Like Interstellar, it doesn't really make more sense when you keep rewatching
I
it.
figured.
But this one, I think it does. It makes a little bit more sense when you rewatch it. I think I'm gonna give it a 4.
Wow.
It's not a 5. This is not like. I think I was expecting to really, really like it this time around, and I didn't. It didn't really like.
Well, you were shocked by a couple of things.
Yeah, I think it just. Last time I saw this, I was in my early 20s, like legitimately early 20s, and my movie tastes have changed, and I want something a little bit more. And I love heist movies, but I mean, this is a great movie. I'll rewatch it. I'm
sure you will.
I don't know if I'd want to watch it once a year.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I could watch this once a year.
I think like a really long movie that would be a 5 for me. That's a movie I'll watch like once or twice a year. Unless I would.
Do you have one you can think of, like off the top of your head, that is like similar to this that you would want to?
Oh, I'm sure I do.
Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I mean, like Blade Runner's really long. I'll watch Blade Runner once or twice a year and be happy about it. Like Lord of the Rings, the extended edition, or those. Like I'll watch all
Do you
three
have
of those.
that on your list for me?
Yeah, eventually. Yeah,
Okay.
I actually think
I'm
you
kind
would.
of intrigued to watch them.
I think you would actually love those.
I think I probably would.
Because everything you say about toxic masculinity, those movies are not toxic at all. It's all about like men tell each
crying.
other. Men kiss in Lord of the Rings, and they tell each other they love each other,
I'm crying.
and it's like
I'm fine.
And the soundtrack is like the Howard Shore's soundtrack in Lord of the Rings is like one of the most beautiful soundtracks of any film, like any movie series I've ever watched. It's incredible.
I do want to watch that.
The only issue is that
It's really long.
I think the best way to watch it is the extended editions, personally, and everybody says that.
I'm willing to do that, but you gotta give
And-
me some brain breaks.
Yeah, I mean, I want to.
It's
Well, no, I just want to say, like, there's so many, like, trilogies and series that I would like you to watch, and I don't know how, like, I don't know if we want to do that as, like, one episode, or if we want to do that as several episodes over time, and I guess, like, if you're still listening to this podcast, like, or to this episode, like, you know, give us your thoughts on that, if you would want us to hear,
please.
like, if you'd want us to hear, like, you know, like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, for you, like, Twilight.
Oh, please don't make me watch all of Star Wars.
You will almost 100% have to watch all the Star Wars at some point.
Have we talked about my ex-boyfriend, and part of the reason he dumped me was because I fell asleep during Star Wars?
See, I don't have any expectation of you liking Star Wars, but you and I
just needed to throw that in there.
If when we have kids, they are going to watch Star Wars with me a lot.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
So I think it's important that you
And they'll probably have
at least seen
ADHD
them.
just like me, and they'll be bouncing off the fucking walls. So have fun with that.
Maybe. But yeah, I mean,
Anyway, this was the Heat, or excuse me, this was the Heat. This was Heat
why'd you laugh like that?
because I said the Heat, and that was the other one.
This has been Heat, 1995.
1995.
I think it might be on Max right now. I have it on Blu-ray, so that's how we watched it. But
I'm sure it's out there somewhere. I'm sure you can watch it. Probably want to watch it before the new one comes out in like 2 years.
yeah, I also forgot to mention we watched the director's cut, so the one that
didn't
people
tell me that.
The one people watch might be a little shorter than
Well,
that.
hopefully it doesn't have the Natalie Portman scene. Hopefully that's not in there for you.
But yeah,
anyways.
thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening all the way to the end. You're the best.
If you like our podcast and you want to support us, the absolute best thing you can do, honestly, is just tell a friend about
just one
about
friend.
the show.
If
You know,
you like
someone
it.
you know that likes movies, or has a partner or a friend, or they watch movies and they have a hard time picking what to watch.
Picking
I
them
don't
for
know.
each other, or something.
Yeah.
We would
Just-
love that.
You know, tell them about our podcast. Let them give us a try. If they don't like us, that's
Please.
fine. We hate them too. But
Oh, no, we don't hate anyone. We know we're not for everybody, but we're really appreciative of the people that do listen.
yeah,
you.
you know, give us a rating, give us a review,
Please.
all that jazz.
Oh, okay. You'd stop so abruptly. And make sure to follow us on our social medias. They're going to be a little bit more active here soon. We took a little bit of a hiatus for Christmas,
The
etc.
holidays.
But they'll be more active soon. So check us out on our Instagram, our Twitter, our TikTok. They should be linked in the Spotify, or you can also check our Buzzsprout to
They're
stay
in the show
up to
notes.
date.
Yeah.
On what we've got going on. We have a new episode every Wednesday. We're going to try to start adding some more shorter ones, which I've said for 3 weeks now, but we're working on it.
Yeah.
And please join us next week as I force Robert to watch Mean Girls.
Oh, there you go. I knew that was
Not
coming.
the new one, the old one.
The old one.
I haven't seen the new one yet. We'll probably watch that one sooner rather than later, but he hasn't seen the full Mean Girls yet, which I think is blasphemous. If you're a human being on this earth and you haven't seen Mean Girls, that's startling to me. I don't know how you've avoided it for this long.
You know, it's just one of those ones. I think I was a little bit. I just like was the wrong age to catch it, and I just never got around to it. I've seen bits and pieces.
You're gonna love it.
I know a lot of what happens.
You're gonna love it.
Yep, can't wait to.
To watch Mean Girls.
I love Rachel McAdams. I love
Girls.
Amy Seyfried. Seyfried?
Amanda.
What'd I say, Amy?
You said Amy.
Amy.
I don't know Amy Seyfried. Anyways,
I don't know.
listen to our episode next week when we get to hear Robert talk about his love for Mean Girls. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Goodbye.